You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. This is a special Hot Topics Live. We have a bunch of stories to talk about, from the royal family to the Diddy family? Maybe I try to figure out a segue, but there is no segue. But we do have a few stories that I want to get into. It's not going to be a long live, but this is why it's important to follow me everywhere. We're not streaming on X. Don't tell them. Psst, psst. No. We're not streaming on X, but we will be streaming on YouTube, Facebook, The Kempire and Kempire Daily on Facebook, and we will be streaming on Twitch. So shout out to everyone watching on Twitch. And of course, there will be a podcast version. So make sure you guys subscribe to the Kempire podcast. I am working on giving our Club Kempire Apple Podcast paid subscribers the audio to our DC show that we had, oh my gosh, like a couple months ago. So stay tuned for that. There is a free 3-day trial, so be sure to check some of that out. Today's live is brought to you by our friends over at Factor. You know, on a busy day like today, I need to make sure that I have something quick and easy to eat. And I'm so glad to have Factor back here on the channel. And of course, we've gotten you a discount. So reminder, fall always feels like a reset. Between back to school, busier routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough. That's why I personally love Factor. Their chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals make it easier and make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season gets. Today's a perfect day for a Factor meal. So if you have some, use them. And if you want some, use our code. So Factor has a bunch of really cool things that it's ideal for every person's life. From more variety and more meals, you can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. That's more important. Okay. They also have savor some global flavors for the first time. They try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. But of course, as I said before, I've gotten you guys a discount. Eat smart at factormeals.com/Kempire50off and use code Kempire50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for a year. That's code Kempire50off, factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. More information on Factor will be available in the description. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring this special live. So I was live on TikTok, and I started talking about some of these stories. I did do a video talking about Real Housewives of New Jersey star Jennifer Aydin confirming that she will not be back for whatever new season or new iteration there will be of Real Housewives of New Jersey. So if you missed that, I did do a separate video of that. Also, earlier I did a video where I listened along with you Andy Cohen's podcast interview with Call Her Daddy. We had some thoughts, we had some opinions, and we shared them. So be sure to check that out. That was a nice, juicy episode. You can also hear it on the Kempire podcast. And if you're a Club Kempire member, you already heard it from last night. So shout out to you guys for being Club Kempire members. All right. We also had some breaking news when I was live on TikTok, and that was about the royal family. Prince Andrew, you know, we talk about the royal family. If you're a full Kempire-nista, then you know we talk about a variety of things. We don't just talk about housewives here. We talk about a variety. And I do cover the royal family. I just do not cover them every day or every week or every month. But when there are things to be noted, I think it's when we should talk about them. We also don't talk about Jeffrey Epstein a lot, but it's worth talking about. So you may have recalled, it was just maybe not even a week ago that it came out that Prince Andrew would be losing more of his titles. Well, we had breaking news today. One of those titles that we thought that he would still have would be Prince. So technically, I shouldn't even call him Prince Andrew. I'm only calling him Prince Andrew for the algorithm's sake. The reason why we're calling him. He's now the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew. As he should be. We will get into that. I'm going to give you the details first, and then I'll share my thoughts and opinions. We also got to talk about Fergie, because when I started talking about this on TikTok earlier, people revealed to me, oh, did you know about Fergie's email to Epstein? What? So I went down a deep dive into that. We will get to that in a second because that happened a couple of months ago. I'm surprised I completely missed that. All right, so let me just first start off with Prince Andrew and him losing his titles, okay? Let's start there. Sorry, y'all. Let me just pull this up because I had it before and now it's not there. Or is it? Hold on. Oh, no, that was the other. Yeah, this was the other one. Hold on. Let me just bring up the original article that I had. And as I'm doing that, please be sure to like the videos, an easy and free way of supporting not just me, but other channels as well. So let me just let you know what's happening with Prince Andrew and why I feel like it's smoke and mirrors. I feel like it's smoke and mirrors because you think we're going to see Prince Andrew on the streets of London? Change, please, change. No. And the reason why I say that is because what else does he do for a living that brings in money? What I found out is that, yeah, he gets a pension because he was in the military, but that pension is what, 20,000 something pounds a year? Come on. Come on. So this is what People Magazine wrote earlier today in regards to Prince Andrew, the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew. Sorry. Prince Andrew has officially lost all of his royal titles, including Prince. This is important because earlier when someone came into the chat and said, oh, Prince Andrew has lost his title as Prince, I was like, no, that's the one title that he was going to keep. No, it was a breaking story. Earlier today, the royal family released a statement. King Charles released a statement that he would also lose the title of Prince. And I think the reason why they made the statement was because they were receiving pressure from the powers that be, or as Meghan Markle called them, the firm. Remember that? Remember the firm? That was the first time we ever who's the firm? What's going on? So Prince Andrew has officially lost all of his royal titles, including Prince, in an unprecedented move by his brother, King Charles. Andrew, who's 65 years old, will no longer be known as Prince or His Royal Highness, among other titles. Buckingham Palace announced on Thursday, October 30th. Instead, he will be known as Andy Mountbatten Windsor. Okay, I changed it to Andy. But we could start calling him Andy now. I'm calling Andy, not Andrew Cohen. We're going to call this Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. That's their last name. For those that didn't realize, the royal family does have a last name. So now he would be like a regular person. Okay? So Andy Mountbatten Windsor is his name. Okay? If anything, we should just call him Andy Windsor. Hey, Andy Windsor. So in their statement, they said this. His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Andrew was a prince and had the styling of His Royal Highness since birth as the son of then reigning monarch Queen Elizabeth. He was given the title of Duke of York, which he was widely known as well as Earl of Inverness and Baron Killag by his late mother on his wedding day to Sarah Ferguson in 1986. That's typical. If you've been watching the royal family for a long time and you've been watching the weddings, that's when we usually find out, okay, they've been now given multiple different titles. That's typical, okay? The honors affected are Andrew's Order of the Garter, excuse me, and Knight Grand Cross of the Victorian Order. Okay. In addition, Andrew will lose his living arrangements at Royal Lodge in Windsor. So hear me out. And all you royalistas will correct us in the comment section. But word on the street, you remember he was married to Sarah Ferguson, a.k.a. Fergie, the original Fergie, not the Fergie you guys know from Black Eyed Peas. Is it Black Eyed Peas? No, it's Black Eyed Peas. Not that Fergie, the original Fergie. If you're a person of a particular age, you know what Fergie I'm talking about. She used to get in trouble with Diana, Princess Diana. Remember that? They were dipping in and doing and getting in trouble. Yeah, but they were all in the gossip rags and things like that back in the day. Y'all remember? Come on. Y'all of a particular age. Stop trying to act like you a young blood, okay? A YN. Stop. So Sarah used to get into trouble. Her and Princess Diana. Well, Sarah Ferguson divorced with Prince Andy. They got a divorce almost 30 years ago. They've been divorced, but they've been very amicable. to the point where they were still living together. Obviously, nothing. They're living in this big royal lodge. Word on the street, she was still living there, still being taken care of by the royal family, despite being an embarrassment. Fergie was an embarrassment to the royal family. Let's be clear, okay? I'm bringing her up because it's important. So as I said before, in his marriage to Sarah Ferguson, a.k.a. Fergie, that was back in 1986. They got divorced in 1996. They were only married for 10 years. So the moving on from there, in addition, Andrew will lose his living arrangements at Royal Lodge in Windsor. So this is what the statement said. His lease on Royal Lodge has to date provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternate private accommodation. These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him, the palace stated. Their Majesties, King Charles and, the side piece. Oh! Camille, we are all of a particular age. Camilla. Look, Camille. Okay, it's the queen. Let me be respectful. Okay, so they said, Their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse, the statement concluded. Ms. Melvin said, I sound more British than Tia. Shut up. Leave Tia alone. Well, yeah. So here's the thing. Someone said frickin' frack. Felicia, not frickin' frack. So here's my thoughts and opinions on this. We have to remember the timeliness of this, because there's a book that came out from a young woman that was allegedly Prince Andy's, one of Andy's victims, who Jeffrey Epstein provided to Andy when he was Prince Andrew. So people understands it was King Charles' decision to remove Andrew's titles and honors, and he's using his royal prerogative, which allows him to manage certain royal titles and honors without involving Parliament. Although Andrew denies accusations against him, there has been serious lapses of judgment that led to the move, which has the support of the royal family, including Prince William, the next in line. The last time a member of the British royal family was formally stripped of a title was Prince Ernest Augustus, Duke of Cumberland and Titterdale, a German-born British prince, under the Titles Deprivation Act 1917, when his British titles were removed after he swore allegiance to Germany during World War I. Damn, that was the last time that's ever happened. So when Andrew's great-uncle, King Edward VIII, abdicated the throne in December of 1936, so King Charles being king is just because of this. Because King Edward VIII abdicated the throne, or we'd be talking about a whole other thing. He was not formally stripped of his royal titles, though, the king. Instead, his brother, King George VI, granted him the title Duke of Windsor. As daughters of the son of a sovereign, Andrew's children, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, retained their titles in line with King George V's letters patent of 1917. So my speculation here, because as I said to you before, he's not a working royal anymore, formerly Prince Andrew, which he apparently, according to my Google searches, he was making about £249,000 a year from that role. And he has a pension from when he was in the Royal Guard. So I'm thinking he's able to keep his Royal Guard pension, but that's not enough to live off of. But then I'm reminded he's got his two princess daughters. So I wouldn't be surprised that they inadvertently will be taking care of their father and their mother. But it's going to be, to the appearance of the world, the royal family is denouncing his alleged behavior. It's important to note. Yeah, Big Miss Muffin. Like, if you watch The Crown, because when I was watching The Crown, I would Google and see, okay, is this factual? I went on a deep dive. If you followed me on TikTok during the pandemic, I used to do some royal TikToks. I used to have fun doing. I love history. Big Miss Muffin says, "You talking good, Kempire? Yes, educate the people." And he abdicated because he wanted to marry a divorced woman, and did. Yeah, some of this plays out in The Crown. Some of it, they play off. They exaggerate and things like that. But there's a lot of truth there. There is really interesting history. I'm a history buff. I always love history. So, just an update in regards to this. I don't know if I 100% believe that the crown, the royal family, really is separating themselves because they are against what he could have done. Also, keep in mind, Donald Trump just went to meet with the royal family. They had the big, a state dinner with all with all those tech bros that were there. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's interesting timing. Donald Trump does not want to reveal the Epstein list. I believe that there are a lot of powerful people on those lists. And Prince Andrew's the only one he's not the only one, but he's the one that's gotten a lot of heat, okay, since the Epstein list was even out there. So has Bill Clinton. I don't think the Epstein list I think it goes across all dynamics, all power plays. It goes across the country. It goes across the world. I feel like there are a lot of powerful people. So it's not just Donald Trump wants to protect himself. I think he's trying to protect or utilize that power of those names by not releasing them. And that's why I believe both Republicans and Democrats do not want to release them, because there are some powerful people that are on that list. Because you see what's happening to the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew and all the things that he's losing. But like I said, I feel like the royal family's motivation here is not because they really stand with the victims. Okay? Because we know what happened with I was about to say Megan Thee Stallion, Meghan Markle. And when she came to you guys with her mental health. What about y'all victims? Okay. Anyway, so the timing of this is important because, as I said to you before, the young lady who's now, she unalived herself, she wrote a book was released after she passed away. She was 41 years old, but at the time she was underage when she apparently met Prince Andrew. She was given to Prince Andrew, allegedly, I'll say. Given to Prince Andrew by Jeffrey Epstein. Well, here's the thing. Jeffrey Epstein and his connection to Prince Andrew and his family actually is deep. And I'm not talking about the royal family. I'm talking about Sarah Ferguson, a.k.a. Fergie. I think it's important for us to talk about this because thank goodness you guys that were on my TikTok mentioned this to me. Because I had no idea that Fergie was tied to Epstein. So let me get into some of what I read about Fergie. Fergalicious. No, not Fergalicious. Not that Fergie. Sarah Ferguson, Prince Andrew's ex-wife of 30 years, but still, I believe, is taken care of by the royal family. So when he's kicked out of this royal lodge, she's getting kicked out too. She's probably gonna go live with her daughters or one of her daughters. That is still taken care of by the royal family. But okay, they have to do this for public consumption. Like, oh yes, we are stripping him of all his titles, blah, 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 blah. I just wonder if this was brought up in a private meeting with King Charles and Donald Trump. Just asking. I do think the book coming out and talking about Prince Andrew was motivation as well. But we knew that she had named him before this. We've been talking about Prince Andrew and Epstein connection for years at this particular point. For years. Damn, Mary. Mary says all the enemies of the crown get in car accidents. Well, here's the thing with Sarah Ferguson. Because it was just a couple of months ago that Sarah Ferguson, Prince Andrew's ex-wife, apparently had wrote an email to Jeffrey Epstein referring to him as a supreme friend. Think about that. Prince Andrew is accused of having a connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein allegedly giving this girl to him. So at the time, I'm assuming they were married at the time. I don't know the timeline or thing. Or if they weren't married, they were still living under the same roof at the very least. Okay. So according to the BBC, they wrote this article back in September of this year. I did not see this. First off, after this information came out about Sarah Ferguson writing this email to Jeffrey Epstein, 7 charities dropped the Duchess of York as a patron or ambassador after an email from 2011 revealed that she called ex-offender Jeffrey Epstein her, quote, supreme friend, and seemed to apologize for her public criticism of him. So Julia's House, a children's hospice, was the first to remove Sarah Ferguson, Prince Andrew's ex-wife, saying it was, quote, inappropriate for her to continue in the role. The Teenage Cancer Trust, Natasha Allergy Research Foundation, Children's Illiteracy Charity, National Foundation for Retired Service Animals, and Prevent Breast Cancer also announced that they had dropped the Duchess as a patron. The British Heart Foundation said that she would no longer be its ambassador. So a spokesperson for the Duchess said that she was not commenting on the charity's decisions to end their links with her. It comes after the Mail back in September and the Sun newspapers published a 2011 email from the Duchess to Jeffrey Epstein, which appears to have been sent after she had publicly claimed to have broken off contact with him. So in the email, Fergie, okay, she appeared to privately apologize for her public rejection of Epstein, saying, "You have always been a steadfast, generous, and supreme friend to me and my family." Excuse me? You have been a supreme friend to me and my family? So that seemed to contradict her public denunciation of Epstein in an interview from a few weeks earlier, in which she said that her involvement with him, including borrowing money. I mean, if you go down the rabbit hole of how the hell did this man have so much money? Okay. So they said this. Again, she said, you have always been a steadfast, generous, and supreme friend to me and my family. And again, it contradicted what she said in an interview in regards to Epstein a few weeks earlier, in which she said that her involvement with him, including borrowing money, had been a, quote, gigantic error of judgment, and that what he did was wrong and for which he was rightly jailed. The Duchess had said that she would, quote, have nothing ever to do with Jeffrey Epstein ever again, only for the later email to say she humbly apologized to him and know you feel hellishly, or hellaciously, there we go, let down by me. She said a spokesperson for the Duchess said that her subsequent email to Epstein describing him as a friend was written to counter a threat from him to sue her for defamation, and that she still really regretted any association with him. This email was sent in the context of advice, and the Duchess was given to try to assuage Epstein and his threats, said a statement from her spokesperson when the email Epstein had been published at the weekend. Here's the thing, though. If you stood by your statements in regards to your association to him, what threats was he making? What threats was he making? What exactly did Jeffrey Epstein have on this family? It also leans into the conspiracy theories that Jeffrey Epstein did not unalive himself, that there were a lot of powerful people that did not want to see him see the light of day. Who knows who else he was allegedly threatening back then when that was happening. But I find it so interesting that Prince Andrew, who had this connection to Jeffrey Epstein's wife, was apologizing to him in an email. So the response to the emergence of the email sent several years after Epstein's jailing for offenses in 2008 was for a series of charities to cut their links with the Duchess. That included the Teenage Cancer Trust, as I mentioned, where she had been a patron for 35 years. She also ended her role at Julia's House charity, which supports families in Dorset and Wiltshire, where the Duchess had been a patron since 2018. The Natasha Allergy Research Foundation ended its connection with the Duchess, who had been a patron since it was founded in 2019. Look, Fergie has had a fall from grace many times over, but I feel like in the last decade, maybe 20 years, she's sort of not had a resurgence, but now she was back in society. You know, we talk about this all the time when it comes to, it's not about necessarily the money you have. It's about being welcomed. If you watch The Gilded Age. So some of those things that you saw in The Gilded Age have not changed when it comes to living in society and being amongst the who's who, being a patron to these different charities. Do I think, and I'm not talking about these specific charities, do I think these charities are separating themselves and that they hadn't heard things before about some of these individuals? Well, I think a lot of this stuff happens when they feel public pressure. It's not something that they would have done without public pressure. That's my personal feeling. I'm not saying that specifically about these charities, but that's how I feel about with the royal family right now. But that's me. Okay, so let me actually read the rest of this because I might want to dig deep into this a little bit later on. The Duchess had joined forces with the Prevent Breast Cancer in 2024. Speaking of which, we hit our goal of over $3,500 for our breast cancer awareness fundraiser for this month for Black Women's Health Imperative. Thank you. So thank you to everyone that donated. So the Duchess had joined forces with Prevent Breast Cancer in 2024 following her own breast cancer treatment the year before. Sarah Ferguson's former husband, you know, the Duke of York formerly, this is an old article, as we've learned today, he's lost all the titles, had previously had to stand down as a working royal and lost his patronages after challenging over his own associations with Epstein, including a BBC Newsnight interview in 2019. Prince Andrew's contact with Epstein had continued after he had been released from jail, with the prince being photographed with Epstein in New York Central Park in 2010. In the U.S., there had been increasing pressure for the release of any information about Epstein and his famous connections, which has seen more detail and documents emerging, including messages in an alleged birthday book, which includes Donald Trump. Supportive messages from Peter Mandelson to Epstein saw him sacked as Britain's ambassador to the U.S. earlier in September. Can you imagine the names that we don't know? Can you imagine the names that we don't know? Let me just see if there was anything else that and then they talk about Donald Trump's visit to the UK. An image of the prince with Epstein was projected on the. Oh Lord, I forgot about this. You remember when Donald Trump visited? They shout out to the UK. When President Trump visited the UK at the time, an image of the prince with Epstein was projected on the walls of Windsor Castle, along with images of the visiting president. Come on now. Come on now. Okay. Let me see. So far, the Duchess has been a great survivor in royal circles. See, they're writing exactly what I didn't even see this part. They said, so far, the Duchess has been a great survivor in royal circles. She's kept bouncing back. Last Christmas, she was praised by royal insiders for helping to keep Prince Andrew away from public events when he was caught up in the Chinese spy scandal. What? I gotta read that later. The Christmas before, she had been back in the royal fold and joining a royal Christmas gathering at Sandringham for the first time in decades. So remember, like I told you, she was like the black sheep of the royal family. And just when she was starting to get back into the fold, Prince Andrew done effed it up. So they said that was despite the Duke and Duchess of York not being working royals or allowed to be a part of the official royal events, but they just want to be in the party because just being there is a big deal. But this latest scandal is going to raise difficult questions about any future return, and Buckingham Palace might want the Duke and Duchess to keep their distance. This article was before today that we found, and before Prince Andrew was stripped of all his other titles. Today, it was announced that he was also stripped of his prince title. We're now calling him Andy Windsor. Just for those that are just joining us, I wanted to give you a full update in regards to that, okay? But his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, will continue to keep their titles as princesses based off of a 1917 rule, okay? And I believe that they will probably be taking care of their parents via the royal money that is paid by the UK people. They will still be taking care of their parents. Because we're not going to see Fergie and Andrew on the streets of London like, change, please, change. Just that. All right. All right. Should I get into Gayle first? Okay, before we get to the Diddy of it all. So there was a report, and I didn't believe the report, but then I had to remind myself that NBC had announced that they were rolling back some of their DEI over there. Then CBS also made that announcement, okay? And one of the tweets that I said yesterday, I stand by this, so I'm going to mention it here, because some of you don't follow me on X. I retweeted that information that CBS was rolling back some of those things. And I said, please understand, they were never allies. They were just clout chasers. When we talk about clout chasers, this is what it is. They saw a big movement during the pandemic, Black Lives Matter. You saw everybody, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We saw that with Target as well. We're going to open up all these different opportunities. The moment they had an administration that would allow them to continue to be racist and sexist and just outright prejudice, they were like, power to the people. So they were never allies. They were clearly clout chasers. Speaking of which, Gayle King, according to Variety in their exclusive, they reported this just maybe like a moment ago in regards to Gayle King stepping down. Let me see if I can actually get the article because I am not paying for it. Variety. I'm sure other people will give it to us for free. Thank you. Oh, wait a second. We have an update. Hold on. Shout out to Deadline. We don't have to pay here. So a CBS News spokesperson said that the network has had, quote, no discussions. So this is breaking news with Gayle King about her contract amid a report that she's expected to depart CBS Morning next year. Her contract ends May of 2026. This is what they say to Deadline. There have been no discussions with Gayle about her contract that runs through May 2026, a CBS News spokesperson said. She's a truly valued part of CBS, and we look forward to engaging with her about her future. Variety, citing 4 sources familiar with the matter, reported that King was expected to leave the show, but that she may take a different role in the news division. King has co-anchored the CBS Morning Show since 2012, a mainstay even as different co-hosts have come and gone and the program has gone through format changes. She co-hosts the show with Tony DeCupio and Nate Burleson. She signed a new deal last year to stay at CBS News and in a previous contract extension in 2022 announced her renewal on her SiriusXM show. The only thing I don't like about this job are the hours, she said, but you can't complain about the hours because the job is what it is, and I'm so proud to be a part of the team. I'm so glad that the negotiations are over. As she continued on the morning show, King co-hosted a weekly CNN show with Charles Barkley called King Charles, but it ran less than a year between 2023 and 2024. I almost forgot about that. CBS News is in the midst of an overhaul following Skydance's acquisition of Paramount, with Barry Weiss hired earlier this month with the title of editor-in-chief. Big changes are expected for CBS Evening News, with co-anchor John Dickerson announcing that he would be departing the network at the end of the year. The network this week went through a round of layoffs that impacted nearly 100 staffers. This is also the network that decided to get rid of Stephen Colbert, and they claimed that it was for financial issues, only for us to find out, no, this was pleasing the federal government that's now controlled by Donald Trump because they wanted this whole Skydance acquisition to go through. So Just say exactly. Ty says that Stephen Colbert's show on CBS is also ending in May. Well, let me speculate in regards to why Variety got this story. Could this be? And again, you guys would be so surprised at how everyone, from the executives, from the talent, that will weaponize the media to get all of us talking. So I'm not saying that Gayle did this, but it wouldn't shock me that someone put it out there so that the folks that love Gayle King would be like, oh no, we love Gayle. You can't get rid of Gayle. So that wouldn't shock me on that end. Or it could just be people talking. Like there was a conversation and this is, they wanted to spark some sort of, like, oh, I found out first kind of thing. So who knows? Or it could just be a completely made up story. I do not believe the CBS spokesperson that there have been no discussions. They're claiming that there have been no discussions about Gayle leaving the network. It is kind of early to be talking about it. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking that they would start negotiations at some particular point. I don't know about now. I don't know normally when they start those conversations. But this would be quite early. This would be quite early. And look what Gayle did not go to outer space with Jeff Bezos so that she could lose her good paying job. Come on now. We know she did that for a reason. Homegirl was scared as all hell. She did that and she went to that wedding to secure something. That's what I believe. I don't know that for a fact. I don't know for a fact, but I was like, Gayle, why are you going up into that spaceship and you going into the Earth's crust? What? Not the Earth's crust, but the Earth's atmosphere for 10 minutes to come back down and you so scared. Oh, she's doing it to overcome her fear. Girl. Girl. No, she did that to secure something. That's why you saw all those millionaires and billionaires, including Leonardo DiCaprio, going to that wedding. They did that for a reason. But anyway. So Gayle King, for those that have been hearing the stories, that there are conversations that she's out at CBS Mornings. According to Deadline, in an update from CBS News spokesperson, they're saying that there have been no discussions on Gayle King leaving the network. Her contract is up in May of 2026. How old is Gayle? Is 70 years old. Look, I love my job too, but please understand when I'm 70, you guys will be viewing me probably from my phone in retirement. Like, hey, y'all, how's everything going? Yay. You're not going to see me working for CBS News or any other major outlet. At 70? And I'm not saying that she needs to shrinkle up and die. But at the same time, why are we working at 70? See, this is why I like Europe. They're all about living their lives at the most. 70 years old? And she looks great, don't get me wrong, but 70 years old and going into space? Anyway. She's an astronaut. See, Gayle lost me. Remember when Gayle was looking at us and talking down to us when people were talking about her going up into space and what a waste of time that was? Remember when she was like, y'all don't even know what y'all talking about. And she still, to this day, has not given us a solid reason or the purpose of that damn, whatever that was, astronaut Gayle King. It's okay, Gayle. We still love you. Right? I'm like, please understand, when I'm 70 years old, I won't be here. I won't be at 10:45 at night talking to y'all. And if I am, it will be with me and my boo. Like we are on, a safari somewhere, like living our best lives. When I went on a safari, when I did my Nepal, India trip, all the people that were on that trip were probably like 70s, 80s. And I'm just like, look at y'all living y'all best lives because y'all worked y'all entire lives. What? And sometimes I believe a lot of these people, especially people that do this kind of work, on camera work, that they get a lot of love from people and attention from people. I think a lot of it is ego. And yes, they love their jobs. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people love their jobs. But I also believe it's ego. They like that attention. They like that influence. They like that power. I think. But here we go. TA says, how long would her next contract be? That's all depending on her negotiations. It could be like, let's do one more year and see where we are next year. Because now we have to remember, now there's a change in power over there at CBS. So it wouldn't shock me. That's why some of this stuff is coming out there. It also wouldn't shock me that people are just putting stuff out there that doesn't even exist. It could be just a slow news day and someone wanted to create something. Variety's not one of those publications, though. So it wouldn't be shock me that this is something, like they're putting out, like Gayle's people allegedly could be putting out there. Lakiba says, your boo? Kempo, who is your boo? I am manifesting. Yeah, every time I say that, y'all all of a sudden like, who's your boo? I'm manifesting. I would hope by 70 years old, I would have found him. I would hope. Oh, wait a second. Gayle's single. Oh. Also, this is why she's still working. Oh. Damn. Dear Lord. Let's take a moment. Dear Lord, may I not have Gayle King's life or career. Just saying. All right. Also, Gayle, I would not want to be getting up at the time that you have to get up. And you've been doing this for how long? No. I wouldn't mind doing a morning show, but that's early. She's up early. And then she has to go to bed early. If I did a morning show, I could not be here right now talking to y'all. I would do a morning show, but just not that early. Like morning news? No, thank you. And you got to talk about all that depressing stuff? No, thank you. But good for you, Gayle. Because I remember when you were best friends with Oprah. I mean, they're still best friends. But I remember when Gayle was just Oprah's best friend and she was doing local news over there in Connecticut. So this was a huge step for her to go from there to working at CBS. Just saying. Ms. Parker says, if Gayle is an astronaut, I'm a number 2 pencil. All right. Last but definitely not least, let me give you your Diddy update. And if you're just joining us, guys, don't forget to like the video. And don't forget, if you're listening to this on the Kempire podcast, make sure you are subscribed to the Kempire podcast and make sure you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And be sure to check out all the things that you may have missed. Okay, the short form content. I just realized that we had our 7,000th upload here on YouTube. So thank you to all of you. I'm very consistent. 7,000 uploads. Lord have mercy. So thank you to all of you that are supportive. And of course, thank you to those of you that are new subscribers because we just hit 555,000. No, sorry, 554,000. We're almost at 555,000. I like that number. Chica says, hey, Gayle. Look. Chica says, hey, Gayle haters. We don't hate Gayle. We're just having a good time. Don't be crotchety. Look, don't be crotchety. All right, let's move on. Let me talk about Diddy because it's been a while since we talked about Diddy. Before we go to Diddy, can we talk about Toni Braxton? Real quick. I probably will talk about Toni in the next episode of the Braxtons in a separate video. The new episode comes out tomorrow. You're welcome, WeTV. Let me just play this audio because Toni Braxton is, she's promoting her tour with New Edition and Boyz II Men. Well, she talked about Birdman. Okay, she talked about Birdman and their relationship recently.
Wedding anniversary to Birdman.
Yes, Brian. Everyone calls him
Birdman. Is it weird
She called him Brian.
that we call him Birdman?
a little bit, but people call him that Ostana. I say Brian.
So talk about how meeting him at this stage of your life has felt.
We've been friends for over 25 years.
Sidebar, did you guys see the rumor? There was like this rumor that apparently Tamar and Birdman dated back in the early 2000s. I say that because, Tamar was recently supporting Birdman and wiping the sweat off his head during the Versus battle between, Cash Money and No Limit. So a lot of people were speculating, and she said she squashed all of that and said, oh no, that I'm just supporting my brother-in-law because Toni Braxton couldn't make it. And then we saw a video of them FaceTiming Toni after the Versus. And she was going off per usual, Tamar.
To go to all my shows. He was there for my baby shower.
Oh, my gosh.
That kind of thing. Never crossed the line. He was my dearest friend. He came to see me when I did Beauty and the Beast, and he got there doing, like, just before intermission. And I'm like, why are you here so late? He's like, well, I thought it was an opening act. Like, it is Broadway. There is no opening act here. So we've been friends for a long time, and a love connection started happening like a couple years ago.
But also, isn't that the way it...
A couple of years ago is like 2 years ago. I feel like this love affair has been going on for more than a couple of years.
supposed to happen. It's like
That's
everybody
what they
says
say.
friendship is supposed to be at the North Star of everything.
Yeah.
We're so
peas and
happy.
carrots.
And y'all just celebrated your 1 year?
1 year anniversary.
You had your 1 year wedding?
See, here's the thing, and this is what I miss about like a Wendy Williams on Daytime Talk. Because okay, I'm not gonna even shade them. This is why I miss Wendy Williams on Daytime Talk, because Wendy would be the one to ask Tony, what happened when you guys got married and then you filed for divorce and then you withdrew the the divorce? What happened there, Tony? Huh? Oh. I guess when I get my Daytime Talk show, I'll ask. We'll see if they're still together by then. Who knows? Exactly. That's what I thought too. Ms. Parker says Braxton Family Values, she was involved with him. So it's more than a few years. But okay. Those Braxtons, I tell you. Yeah, so the new episode of The Braxton airs tomorrow on WeTV. We will be recapping last week's episode and that episode maybe on Saturday. Stay tuned, okay? Virgo, in regards to Gayle, Virgo lady says she's 70. Girl, retire and see the world. Well, that's the thing about Gayle. She's been seeing the world with her bestie Oprah. So I mean, it really hasn't stopped her from seeing the world. I just would not, especially getting up that early. They say when you get older, you don't need that much sleep. That's what they say. I don't know. Good for you, Gayle, girl. Good for you. All right, let me give you your update on Diddy, and I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed. Okay. Where's my Diddy story? Okay, so Diddy. First of all, hold on. I need to read this other article on Diddy before we get to where Diddy is going to end up. There was a story on Diddy that I wanted to talk about in regards to, you remember there was part of the legal team, Diddy's legal team was trying to get him out of jail because they were trying to create like he's in an unsafe environment. There was an article that they did. Let me see. Oh, can I find it here? I saw it earlier and I don't know if it was on this page. I could have sworn it was on this page. I wanted to read it to you guys because I thought this was crazy. Maybe it wasn't the Neighborhood Talk that had it because I thought it was so interesting. Oh, sidebar. Drake. You know Drake is filing an appeal? Drake is filing an appeal. The Neighborhood Talk report says Drake isn't going down without a fight. He has appealed a judge's decision to throw out his defamation suit against Universal Music. According to Billboard, Drake and his legal team filed the motion to appeal just weeks after a judge shut his case down. As we previously reported earlier this month, the judge felt like the case had no basis, given that Kendrick Lamar's "Not Like Us" was a rap diss and not meant to be taken as law. The judge also called out Drake for being mad at the derogatory lyrics in the song, but saying his own defaming lyrics against Kendrick in his own diss. It's unclear what basis Drake's legal team is going to argue in the appeal due to them not giving their reason in the court documents. It will be revealed, though, in later briefings at appeals court. A rep for Drake told Billboard on Wednesday, "This confirms our intent to appeal, and we look forward to the Court of Appeals reviewing that filing in the coming weeks." What a waste of your money. You could be taking that money and giving it to Jamaica right now. Or Haiti. What a waste of time and money. You are so whack. And everyone that's a fan of hip hop should be like, you are whack. And your next project should go paper because of how whack you are. And I'm a Drake fan. I like Drake music. If anything, I like more Drake music than I like Kendrick's music. But you are so corny. Cornball. Look, Let me see if I can find that Diddy article. Hold on. I just want to see. I can't find it. It's all right. Because the original story was Diddy was threatened with a knife attack when he was in the Brooklyn jail. But there was an update. Apparently, it was a fight. It was a fight over basketball. I wish I had the article in front of me. I would have to talk about it at a later date. So, but just for those that didn't know, before he was moved to this jail in New Jersey, according to this article, they said jailed rapper Sean Diddy Combs was attacked in his Brooklyn jail cell by another inmate who made a makeshift knife to his who held a makeshift knife to his throat, according to his friend Carlucci Finney. Diddy, 55, was sentenced to 4 years in prison earlier this month after being found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in you know what. Okay, he's serving his sentence in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. We have an update in regards to that today. According to Finney, Diddy awoke in the night to find a knife at his throat, but the attack was likely meant as intimidation, not as an actual attempt to harm him. Finney added he woke up with a knife to his throat. If this guy had wanted to harm him, Diddy would have been harmed. It would only take a second to cut his throat with a weapon and unalive him. It was probably a way to say, next time you ain't gonna be so lucky. Everything is intimidation, but with Sean, it won't work. Sean is from Harlem. The exact date of the attack is not known, but the report comes just 8 days after Diddy announced plans to appeal his conviction. Okay? But like I said, I saw an article earlier today, I wish I had it in front of me, where they were saying apparently it was over basketball. I don't know I wish I had it in front of me, y'all, but if you know the story, please be sure to DM it to me because I wanted to talk about it, but Lord have mercy. Okay, so we do have an update in regards to Diddy. Diddy is no longer at the Metropolitan Detention Center where he's been since he was arrested over a year ago and has spent his entire time during trial. So CNN writes this. It says Sean Diddy Combs was transferred on Thursday to Fort Dix, a low-security federal prison in New Jersey, to begin serving the rest of his sentence for, as you know, the ladies of the night related charges. According to people familiar with the matter, Combs, who was convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in you know what, requested he serve his 50-month sentence, just over 4 years, prison sentence at the Fort Dix facility to take advantage of his drug treatment program and to be close to his family. It should be noted, him getting involved in this drug treatment program will also lessen his sentence. The music mogul will serve about 2.5 years at the federal prison. Up until now, he had been in federal custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since his arrest in September of 2024 and during the course of his federal criminal trial earlier this year. Those 13 months will be shaved off the remainder of his sentence in addition to any credit he receives for participating in drug treatment. His projected release date is May 8th, 2028, according to the Bureau of Prisons. Combs' legal team is appealing his conviction and sentence, and this week asked a federal appeals court to set an expedited schedule. President Donald Trump previously confirmed that Combs has asked for a pardon, but no decision has been made. Fort Dix has housed other inmates that have graced the tabloids, including Joe Giudice, okay, as our fans of Real Housewives here. So Joe Giudice, a former cast member of the Real Housewives of Jersey. Didn't Apollo stay there too? Because didn't Apollo and Joe Giudice, weren't they in the same jail, or was that at a different time? At Fort Dix, inmates can buy rice cakes at the commissary for $5.75. Isn't that expensive for rice cakes? But I don't buy rice cakes. But why do we know this? At Fort Dix, inmates can buy rice cakes at the commissary for $5.75, white tuna for $3.75, and Pop-Tarts for $2.85. Is that a deal? The commissary list does not include applesauce. You know what? Shut up. This article is shady. Which one witness testified Combs loves and would put on cheeseburgers. I forgot about that. Ew. One of the many weird things that we learned. So Sean Diddy Combs is now in New Jersey. All right. Okay, thank you, Miss Erica. Miss Erica says, yeah, Apollo was there too. That's what I thought. Okiba says, it's prison, Kempire. Where else they going? Rice cakes, though? Exactly. Tanya says, a whole bag or just one rice cake? That's what I'm wondering. We are ridiculous over here, okay? Vernon says, I'm screaming. Applesauce on his cheeseburger. Look. Thank you so much, Chastina. Thank you so much for Super Chat. Chastina says, first Super Chat I've ever sent. Hey, Chastina. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate the support. Guys, you can also support just by liking the video. If you're watching the replay of this, be sure to like the video, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. You will be able to hear the audio version of this on the Kempire podcast, so make sure you subscribe to that. And please understand, we also include different content on the podcast as well. Sometimes we give you an extra extended version of some of the recaps and news that we're reporting on. So be sure to make sure that you check out the podcast as well. But some of you also love just taking the audio on the go. Okay? Virgo Lady says, is Diddy broke yet? Well, here's the thing. Diddy's not broke. Diddy makes money off of all those royalties when it comes to all the music royalties that he has garnered over the years. Read between the lines. Okay. So the other element, we talked about this during the trial, was, remember his private plane? Apparently he was renting that out and allegedly making millions of dollars from renting it out since he's been in jail. So he's fine. And he has other business ventures. Diddy's not broke. And I know he's spending a lot of money when it comes to his legal team. He's spending millions, but he's not broke yet. And because he probably will be out in what, 3 years? Less than 3 years? Diddy's far from broke. I'm sure he'll come out with like a whole rebrand. I still believe that Donald Trump is going to give him a pardon. I don't know why I believe that. I just do. We'll come back to this video if it happens. I think they just don't want us to know when it's going to happen. Because remember, there was that report, I think it was like a couple weeks ago. Oh, Diddy could be out this week. Donald Trump is considering pardoning him. And they heard, TMZ heard from White House officials. The White House came out and said that's false. And TMZ said, we're standing by our story. I think they're seriously considering it. I think they just decided to wait. I don't know if he has any stake in Revolt anymore, but he definitely had to step down when all this played out. I'm sure he's probably still making money, or he made money from that. I can't remember what happened with him in Revolt. I know he had to step down, but I'm sure he had some sort of stake in it, unless they bought the stake from him. Exactly, TA. TA says he's fighting to keep those funds he stole from his artists. Mind you, there was a period of time where he was trying to sell back, not even sell back, to give back the artists their publishing. And in some of that, he was asking that they never be able to say anything derogatory about him. Remember, the timeliness of that, and I'm sure for months he was negotiating with Cassie before she finally filed her lawsuit. So, all right. And that is it, y'all. This was a nice Hot Topics Live. I hope you guys will like the video if you haven't already. I hope that you guys enjoyed our little Hot Topics Live. We don't just talk about housewives here in the channel. We talk about everything in pop culture. And I appreciate it. Shout out to our King's Guard. Shout out to our channel members. Shout out to our subscribers and those of you watching in the bushes. V, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. V says, hey, Kempire, please keep us in your prayers and have a happy Friday. Of course, I will definitely keep you in our prayers. I hope everything's okay. And let's continue to pray for Jamaica. My family, friends folks are good. Just a lot of damage, but Jamaica is going to need all of our helps. If you follow me here on YouTube, or if you don't, go to my post tab. I did give you guys an actual legitimate place to make a donation so that you can help Jamaica during this time. We're going to have to rally together and help quite a few of the islands, including Haiti. Haiti can never catch a break, unfortunately. The Dominican Republic also were affected by Hurricane Melissa as well. So continue to keep everyone in your prayers. So thank you all for being here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evenings. I will see you all probably tomorrow. All right. Everyone have a good night. I will see you all later. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. For more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.